Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Apollyon. I mean Dark Judas? Whenever you find Judas the Shadow as your first item in a treasure room, you know that your run is off to a very good start. Judas the Shadow, when you respawn, just gives you so many benefits. Your DPS increases by twofold almost, I believe your range also increases, and your speed as well. So it's just a bundled up item, which is one of the most life-changing items in the game. I don't say life-changing as a pun because you literally get a new life when you die, but more as in it really saves a bad run and makes it good. I would say it has the power of being single-handedly one of the best items you can find, and it's not an item that will really maybe give you synergies or maybe nice effects, but it's an item that will just make you super strong. It's like going Super Saiyan or something. And an item like this is such a good get, especially early on when you're playing a character that has 2 red health. Why do I say it's good to have especially 2 red health in this situation? Well, because what you want to do is get to the second floor, get a devil deal, try to guarantee it, and in this case we had no spirit hearts, which means if you only have red health, if we play our cards properly, we can get to the devil deal and then trade our HP away and kinda get the devil deals as well as respawn as Dark Judas, and that's exactly what I was doing and that's exactly what I was going for. Because you have 2 red health instead of 3, for example, that means that even if there are 2 1 hard deal items, you can pick them up and still die and respawn as Dark Judas. And maybe in that position you might be arguing with yourself, you know, it's possible that there's just 1 red health item, and that's possible, you know, and when those times come, there's really no difference between being 2 or 3 red health, but there are item rooms, or at least when you have 2 red health as opposed to 3, there are just a lot more combinations which result in you dying and then respawning as Dark Judas. When you respawn as Dark Judas, it's still great, because even though you only have low HP with only 2 black hearts, you're not in that worse of a position. You actually have exactly the same amount of HP that you had before you died. And when you're in that position, you just kind of have to be careful to kind of restock on your HP, because you obviously don't have red health anymore. But I would say that with 2 red health or 2 black hearts, you're essentially playing the same. Sure, you might get hit once or twice, but if something's gonna kill you, it's usually gonna be a boss. And when you're fighting a boss with 2 red health, it's usually a champion version, it's gonna hit you 2 times and you're gonna die. From room to room basis, I would say that in most cases you're not in too much danger, but when you kind of combine that with the fact that you just get such a significant DPS upgrade, you're in a much safer position, because in this game I would argue that offense is the best defense. Of course, because you come back also with black hearts, that means you don't really have to worry about having red health anymore. And in a lot of positions that's great, because that also means that you kind of have the access to all of the boss trap rooms, also to all the challenge rooms, and just overall you're not stuck with trying to reduce your red health even further than it is. Sure, maybe that limits your further devil deal shenanigans or whatever, but usually you can get a health up which you can then trade away in favors of getting some better items. This run in particular, besides just starting out ridiculously strong with the Judas the Shadow, and then the devil deal contained the succubus and the incubus, which are probably 2 of the best familiars in the game. And on top of that, we just have also a bunch of damage ups via the version, not damage ups, but DPS ups via the Dark Matter, the Fair Shot, and Magus Dolly, which also increases your tier rate by quite a significant amount, and now Abaddon, of course. And just combine all of that, it feels so great to play a really strong run. With triple shot, our tier rate is actually ridiculously good. You can see our damage is 14, which increases to 21 when we're actually in the succubus. And because the succubus also scales with your damage, that means that our room clear is actually insane. we just kill enemies as soon as we enter. What made this run just a bit better, you know, usually when you have a strong run, you usually can go for everything. You usually don't have a lot of consumables, you usually don't find a way to break the game, maybe you don't have enough time to actually explore everything. But with Golden Teleporter, we can afford to walk into dead ends, and that's why I really like this item. I would say the Golden Teleporter is one of my favorite items, and the main reason for that is that it saves you from dead ends. Dead ends are probably my biggest bane or my biggest curse, which always follows me whenever I play Isaac. I'm just stuck and I'm always fighting those dead ends, and it's annoying, because when you're trying to explore, obviously when you're trying to go fast, there's nothing more discouraging than actually running into 3 dead ends and having to backtrack, and that just costs a lot of time and it's just boring to watch. At least in my opinion, it's very unfun to actually experience. But with Golden Teleporter, because we have both Sackboy, we also have the Sack of Sacks, which drops sacks, we have a bunch of battery charges, which means that we can just essentially press the Golden Teleporter as many times as we want to. So whenever I encounter a dead end, I don't really want to walk back, even if it's just 1 or 2 rooms. I just pop that spacebar item button I was going for button there, but then I remembered it's a spacebar item. So then I wanted to say item, so then it was button, which is a bit weird. But nevertheless, when I press that active item, I just teleport back to that room which is unexplored. So if you don't know maybe how it works, essentially, as long as you have unexplored rooms on the floor, it's gonna teleport you to the nearest unexplored room. And after it's done with that, first it's gonna teleport to the secret room, or no, the second secret room, then the secret room, then the shop, I believe, then the treasure room, or maybe it's some other combination of those. And after that, it's gonna teleport you to the Devil Deal. So if you have visited all of the previous rooms, you can get to the Devil Deal, and when you finally get to the Devil Deal, then you can teleport to the Ever room. So in total, essentially, you can visit every single room which exists on a floor, even if you didn't naturally get it. So, for example, of Devil Deals, you can just get additional bonus points just by using the teleporter, and you don't really have to gain it naturally, I guess. And when you do that, of course, you also get a chance to pick up more items. And when that happens, you just result in this amazing strong daily, which I think it's just so fun to use this item. It's a joy, and maybe it's shown by me being excited about having it, but Golden Teleporter has to be one of my favorite additions, because I think not only does it really reward kind of not patience, but exploration, which I really like in this game. I like the idea of exploring rooms, and it basically gives you everything, you know. It opens up all the possibilities that you had to get everything that you can possibly get on the floor. You just get stronger that way, and you can go forward. And because this is Isaac, obviously, if I had this item every single run, I don't think it would be nearly as fun. But just because it's quite rare, maybe you don't see it that often, I decided, or because I don't see it that often, I feel like it's a bit more unique and a bit more special because of that. You might be saying, but you had the Void, and why didn't you avoid the Golden Teleporter? And my reasoning for that is simple. I don't really like the Void. I think finagling with the Void is very tricky, and I was afraid that I would be stuck in a position where maybe I didn't get battery charges, I would get to the Devil Deal, and then I would be forced to use the Void and pick up an item that I didn't really want to pick up because I just wanted to teleport out. And I thought it would be just much better and much more actually elegant to just take the Golden Teleporter, because at that point I actually think I used up the Void, or to the extent I've used it. Sure, maybe I didn't really suck up any active items, but I think the real power of the Void comes from sucking up passive items. And I did some math on the previous daily, not really math, but I just simulated a bit of Void picking up, and I sucked up a lot of passive items. And the results were quite surprising. Actually, the Void gives you a bunch of stat ups, which are much more significant than I thought previously. It can give you anything from -2 to -3 tier delay, maybe even -1, which is already great, because, you know, the cap is at 5 and you start out at 10 usually, which means that essentially you can half your tier delay, or to the cap at least, with just one Void item. But on average, it's going to give you something like 0.4 damage, also quite a bit of luck. I also think like 0.3 luck. Range and luck, range and shot speed and other stats are not really that important, but overall it's a very significant DPS upgrade, because even if you suck up an item and you get a damage up, it's always going to be +1 damage, and +1 damage is something that's akin to the Pentagram or maybe even Small Rock, and it's great. It's really one of the best items that you can hope for. I mean, not items, but stats that you can hope for by sucking it up. So obviously, the more items that you suck up throughout the run, and there's a lot of bad passive items that you can suck up, the more effects you're gonna get out of it. I would argue, or at least I think is the right call, to suck up HP items, also HP ups, because I think HP ups, while they're good, it's much better to just have passive stats upgrades, because stats are what's gonna carry you through the run, what's gonna really make you stronger. Just HP won't really. And that's also the reason why I sucked HP at the very start of the run, and I think I got like -2 tier delay, which is always worth it. You know, would you rather have a coat hanger as opposed to an HP up? And I think the answer in the majority of cases is yes, and for that reason, you know, I decided to go via that route. Of course, with the Golden Teleporter, with a Sack of Sacks, with a Sack Boy, with this crazy combination of the Head of the Keeper, triple shot, just a bunch of tier upgrades, a bunch of damage upgrades, we just stomped this run. We had another defensive option via Lost Contact, which means our tiers are shielded, and because we have so many tiers with the Incubus and us with triple shot, and then we have the multi-dimensional baby, which also doubles the shots, we were just not in really any danger, and that is of course shown in the damage penalty, which is very low, at least for me. Only 3000 damage penalty means I got hit like 13 times in the whole run, maybe even less, but overall just an amazing run, a very strong daily, obviously with a score on 28, a total of 54,000 points, which is unprecedented. You know, that's a very high score for a run that goes only to the lamp. I'm thinking, you know, what's maybe my highest score previously? I think it's something like 56,000, so 54,000 is actually very close to that. It didn't really beat it, but overall, a very, very strong daily. The only thing I could improve on is probably my time penalty. Maybe I didn't have to pick up every single item I saw, and of course, if I didn't get hit as much, it would be much better. I also found a way to break the game, or found an opportunity to break the game via cracked dice, but I decided not to do it because I think breaking the game with cracked dice, when you have such a strong daily, you know, for me it's all about the rhythm. When you fall into the rhythm of just being super strong, just going through the rooms, just killing enemies, actually taking the time to break the game and just finding a bunch of items, especially with cracked dice, it's the most tedious thing in the world. And when you actually do that, I feel like it takes you a bit out of it, and then maybe I'm not as excited to actually talk about it and play the daily, but so that's why I decided I wouldn't do it. Still, we ended that really well, and with our end score being in like the top 15 without the hackers, I'm very satisfied with this one. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.